All right, all right. Looks like stuff is set up and we are ready to go. We're looking nice on the settings. Everything's looking good. So we are now live. Let's give some time for people to jump in. I went live earlier, so for those who are watching and who are watching again, thanks for coming back. If you would not mind, leave a thumbs up, a like on the stream. It really helps, and I appreciate you guys for doing so. With that said, we're currently looking at the futures right now on my screen. I can probably zoom in so you guys can see this better. My screen's kind of big, but we zoom in. So tech is absolutely ripping right now, and it's interesting because we were watching this, or I was watching this the past couple of hours, and the futures were up and down, and it's been kind of all over the place. So it's kind of crazy. If we go back here to SPY, so of course when we look at SPY here, this ends at 8 p.m. Eastern. So this is going to be done, like we only see through 8 p.m. Eastern, and so we were up and then we fell off pretty hard. But since then, if we're taking a look at futures, they started to turn green. They were red. They were very volatile for quite some time, and now they are back green. They've been ripping, especially tech right now. That is ripping. And one thing that I do want to point out, we're going to look at some of this stuff as it comes in, at the charts, at some of the map, and what we're leaning and stuff. One thing that I have been watching pretty closely as of late is this right here. So I've been watching the betting odds because for me, someone who's kind of used to sports betting, I've seen it. So earlier in the night, you could have gotten Donald Trump plus 200. So what do these odds actually mean? Well, this means, so for example, minus 250 means you have to bet $250 to win $100. You got to put 250 bucks of your money on the line to win 100, and for Biden, you have to put 100 on the line to win 185. So that's what it means. This was at one point minus 700 for Trump. It was early in the night. It was actually plus 250 or plus 200. It's been all over the place, and it's still showing as of right now in terms of the betting odds. It's showing Trump to be the now, although there's still a lot of votes to be counted. So yes, they are absolutely insane. I actually don't even know. I'm not sure if futures can halt, to be honest. But let's see. Things are getting crazy. So Texas, these are some of the states we've been watching. Texas started out fairly blue, and now it's turning red. The key states that we've been really kind of watching to see how things go. Florida looks like it's going to be red. North Carolina, very close to, I would say very, very close there. Georgia seems like it's going to be red. Pennsylvania seems red as well. Ohio as well. But these are all going to change, so I'm not going to make my predictions as to what's going to happen. We're just going to kind of go over what does happen. Arizona seems to be leaning pretty blue. What I would compare this stuff to is I'm also watching this map. It's a little bit easier in terms of a visual to see it, but also what we expected. So this is actually based on the polls, what we expected to happen. So I compare these kind of back and forth. And based on the polls, Pennsylvania, some of the key states are watching Pennsylvania to be blue, North Carolina blue, Georgia blue, Florida blue, Michigan, Wisconsin also blue. And it seems like as of right now, those are leaning red. Now, there's still votes to be counted, so we'll see. And potentially because of this, we are seeing the futures ripping up because of that. That's something that we're watching for sure. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out the rest of the night. And I just think these, if you wanted like a more clear way just to see kind of what's happening rather than the clutter of looking at all these different states and the colors and this and that. And I've been watching, on the right-hand side. This is actually the New York Times. So I'm watching the latest updates on the right-hand side. You can get some of that as well. But the betting odds is clear. It's where the money is being put, and this is worldwide. It's not, these are betting odds from Bovada. So this is betting odds, and things have been kind of steady at least for right now. So we haven't seen too many swings. Usually you get a bigger move around every hour. So right now it's 9:30 Central, so 10:30 Eastern. So every hour when more polls and states and stuff they close up, that's when you'll see more of a move. So we're going to be watching this stuff for sure. But we see the VIX is down, and we actually, if we take a look, go back here and see kind of what the VIX was doing, or actually UVXY, so modeling kind of volatility. UVXY, this is going to show you kind of the volatility that we've been seeing. And so it was tanking after hours and then ripping, as after hours kind of ends. This is, of course, is only going to be showing us through kind of 8 p.m. Eastern time, but that's how it finished up. So really some wild swings in terms of volatility, and it makes sense. I'm not surprised why we saw that, right? We didn't, we had some numbers start to come in around these times, and it makes some kind of sense. So that's what we're watching right there. Some of the things that I will be watching for sure is how do we open up tomorrow? How do these futures kind of hold up? Do these numbers actually hold up? Does tech actually stay up 3%? And if it does, tomorrow would be an insane day, I guess. And is this going to stay up if we do see a move back towards, let's say, a Biden victory? Like, that's going to be very interesting to see how this kind of holds up, how the futures do hold up here. So it's kind of interesting. A lot of stuff that I've been watching, and we're going to things come in. We'll see more and more. Let's see. We don't have too much more to update in terms of these states. It looks like Ohio is definitely starting to lean more. 51.8% Trump, 75% of the votes in. Georgia, 57%. Still got a lot of votes to be counted there. A decent amount still to be counted in North Carolina. It's pretty close. I would say it's going to be very close to call how that one goes. But some other ones to watch. Michigan will be one to watch. Wisconsin one to watch. Minnesota looks like it's blue for now, but there's still a lot of votes to be counted. There's only like a third, or though. If these numbers hold up, if the futures hold up, and if it's because Trump wins, or if it's whatever, if that is the reason, or if it's just because we have more certainty. Like if for example, like let's say we see the betting odds and things start shifting in Biden's favor the rest of the night. Do futures hold up? That'll be the big question. Do they hold up? And if they don't, we'll see what happens tomorrow. But if they do, then it would just pretty much kind of hammer home the point of we have the certainty there. It was really that traders, investors were just scared of the uncertainty who's going to win, not knowing if we were going to have results, not knowing if we were going to have something. So that's my question. I think hopefully we don't have to find out in terms of not knowing the answer by tomorrow morning. We don't have to know that, but we'll see what happens. So they're still holding up. Those will be something we'll be watching throughout the stream. I'm going to be staying on for quite a while, just hanging out because what else am I doing? To be honest, tonight this is the main focus of the evening. So we're watching that 10 o'clock coming around, at least Central Time. So 11 o'clock Eastern will be the next big time. Hopefully push to get some more states. We kind of know based off of the polls and stuff. Okay, polls, right? But we pretty much know that Washington, Oregon, California are probably going to be blue. Washington will probably be Nevada. I think that has a chance to go potentially either way. But we'll see. We'll see what happens as the numbers come in, as the polls kind of move through, and as continue to get counted. So that's going to be interesting. Yep. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. This may take longer. It's certainly and to be honest, from what I'm looking at, right? So I'm looking at these polls and stuff, and I was just calculating, even if, right? And these aren't all done, and many of these states are leaning red for right now. Even if Trump wins Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, there's still work to be done across other states to secure a victory. That doesn't guarantee anything. So it's not. I think it's going to be very close in terms of the overall numbers that it comes down to when it comes down to the electoral votes. So this is going to be. This could come down to potentially. I don't know. Does Hawaii? Does Alaska? Do they have a big say? I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see as time goes on. I think it's going to be interesting to see. I'm hoping we have some clarity, but again, I don't really know how the whole mail-in counting and stuff's going to work. So, like for example, Florida has been at like 94% votes in for the longest time. Now, it looks like there's a significant lead for Trump. So it looks like, and some stations and stuff have called Florida, but again, there's still a decent amount of votes still left to be counted. So you can't technically, I would say, call that. So there's still going to be some time to decide. We'll see how this goes. Futures still holding up. Back to the betting odds, negative 270 for Trump. Those for who are just tuning in. You have to bet $270 of your money on the line to win $100 for Trump. That's what that means. And then for Biden here, if you bet 100, you're going to win 200. So I'll go through the bet slip and I'll show you guys how that works if it loads up. And hopefully it does, so that we can kind of see how that works. But let's say I want to risk, for example, I'm betting for Biden to win the election. I bet $100. I win $200. And that's how it works. Okay, so hopefully that kind of makes sense. And for Trump again here, for negative 270 odds, if we were to bet $270, we would win 100. So that's just how that works. And so when you see a negative, a minus in front of the name or in front of someone, it's like sports, right? So it's like I kind of see it as sports betting. That's the favorite at the time, right? That's the favorite. And these are moving very, very wild. So you could have actually, just about a half hour ago, it was like minus 700 Trump, and it's come back significantly. So we're going to see. Appreciate it, Joshua. I appreciate it. So futures still ripping. This is going to be interesting to see, though, how this all kind of plays out into tomorrow. If we look across the board, we're just taking a look at some other futures and stuff and seeing how things are looking. But, at least in terms of what we are seeing right here, we go back to the overall market. We're looking at SPY. What to expect going into tomorrow. So let's take a look at the 1 hour chart and see. Now, we had some volatile moves up and down on SPY. Like I said, early on in the after hour session, we had this spike up here to this 340 level, and then boom, plummeting down in the last few minutes of that after hour session. So kind of interesting to see how that happened, and that was just pure, honestly, to me, it was just pure volatility, because we didn't know. The votes start coming in, and you see, you see this, you see that, but ultimately, you still had no clarity on where the votes are coming in early on in the for example, it's like 7 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern, like you had no clue. Now, as it's pushing 11 o'clock Eastern, we're starting to get a pretty decent idea. So Trump +3 in Florida. Let's take a look right here. Texas, he's up a decent amount, 51.3 to 47.3, with 80% of the votes counted in Texas, 94% votes counted in Florida. And he's got a similar lead there as well. So that's what I'm watching right now. We can see kind of some updates, at least on the right-hand side. This is New York Times, for those who are wondering, and this is just Politico.com. This is just if you wanted to get a more visual kind of red, green before we have official. This is just kind of showing us when a state has officially been called. And this is kind of just showing kind of like the kind of as it's coming in, where it's leaning, who has the lead and whatnot. So one thing to note too is that some of these states like North Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Florida, I don't know how this, and even Ohio, I don't know how this stuff is counted and what they count first, but it initially was a Democratic or a Biden lead in most or a lot of these states, and then they have since turned red. So for whatever that means, that's what's at least been happening. I appreciate it. Smash a thumbs up. Yeah, and here's the thing. I haven't been seeing too much, and I don't want to, people we're looking at the betting odds. I mean, we have to get more of a clear number, to be honest, for me, before we start seeing riots and stuff. But DGLY is my riot play. So if Trump does win, I will expect to see riots tonight, tomorrow, the next couple of nights into the weekend. So DGLY may not just be a one and done. It may be something that could be looked back if you're someone who's going to be scalping it day trade wise, or just holding it for a larger move. It may be a multi-day type of play. So that's my thought on that. DPW, my thoughts. Let's take a look. So actually, one thing to also know too is we're watching Bitcoin, because as futures have gone up, Bitcoin is also going up too. So Bitcoin is making some solid moves up. We saw it hit new highs as of late earlier this afternoon, and now it's pushing up yet again. So it's right around that 14. It's got to really clear that 14.1 and hold up above 14 for me to like Bitcoin going forward. But DPW is one of those that I think as time goes on, let's take a look at the chart. As time goes on, we're going to see DPW make a decent move or a significant run up with Bitcoin, as people will look to find other Bitcoin plays get tired out. So for example, Mara, right? Riot are some of the bigger, more prime examples of Bitcoin kind of specific plays that I've liked, and I've watched, and they run with Bitcoin generally, right? They've pulled back quite a bit, so I took a position actually in Mara, M-A-R right here. I have a position right here. I took a position right in after hours before the close, just in case we get an absolute rip tomorrow in Bitcoin as well, or going forward. I am bullish on Bitcoin going forward, so at some point I believe it's inevitable, in my opinion, that we're going to see Bitcoin pushing up and holding up over that 14 and making runs to 15, 16, potentially further thousand. And so when we see that, that's when I'm going to be looking for plays like Mara, for Riot. And then eventually when those get tired out and people are looking for where's the next sympathy, where's the next type of Bitcoin play, NXTD is one. XNet is another one, and DPW will be another one that I think will get found. So I do kind of like it, especially if DPW can kind of hold up and develop some support here. But I'll be watching that one pretty closely as time moves on. So that's my thoughts on that. AQST is another one that let's take a look. I think I've looked at this one pretty recently. AQST, let's take a look. So actually, yeah, it's consolidating and holding up. It's got to pop over this 550, and then we get into this nice gap. So I want to see it up over 550, and then we get into this nice gap, and then that one is looking really good. Other than that, though, if it does start falling below 450, below 435 here, below $4, that's not going to be great. I don't want to see that happen, but it seems to be consolidating and holding up some support, at least for right now, and this is for AQST. Let's take a look. Honestly, when it comes to EVs and stuff like that, I think we'll see, honestly, either way. I think they're going to still move. If the overall markets rip, I think you're going to see that sector be extremely hot, and that's probably going to rip as well. But if Biden wins too, if we have a Biden win, which I mean, as of right now, if you were to go off the betting odds, unlikely. He's technically the underdog based on the betting odds. But if that's the case, right? EVs, alternate energy, green energy, those stocks will probably be ripping as well. But if the overall market doesn't like that, no, this is my honest question, is just, are we seeing these futures up, right? The futures are up, tech and everything, but is that just because it looks like, Trump's going to have a winner? Or is that because it's Trump? Is that like, oh, Trump is what's doing it? Or is it just because we have some certainty of it looks like we have a favorite to win now, and it's not as much of a 50-50 draw as we may have thought, or as it may have potentially been? So that's personally what I'm watching. But if we do kind of have a green day tomorrow, I would expect everything to kind of move up. I really expect a lot of stocks, EV stocks, I think will be running up. A lot of tech stocks will be running up. So it could be a pretty big time bullish day for lots of stocks. And also, if we were to go back out here and just look at the overall market, look at SPY. So the S&P 500, I mean, we've bounced beautifully off of this support level. So like these are some support levels I've been watching, and we've bounced beautifully. Now the question is going to be, can we make it out of this downtrend? And so if we get over 340 on SPY, it looks to me like we'll be positioning ourselves, especially if we do get stimulus, or if we get some positive stimulus news. Of course, we've been dragged along with the stimulus, right? But if we get positive stimulus news as well, we'll be probably making a move towards all-time highs, I think, in the near future, by the end of the year, certainly, would be my expectation. That's my thought. So we'll see what happens, but that's what I'm thinking right now. Let's see. DFEN. I haven't looked at this one personally, have not, but this could be a massive move. I mean, if we take a look at this, we'll have to see. It looks like it's an ETF, so we have to get this thing making a solid move up to 21 plus. But if it makes a move up and makes a recovery to back where we were back in February, this has a lot of range. So this is looking very interesting. I want to be looking a little further into this one personally myself, because I haven't looked at it, and what makes what makes up this ETF and stuff. But this has some range, especially if what is driving the driving forces behind this, especially with some green volume coming in. This could have some range going forward. Oh, we also got the weed vote. Weed is now legal, I believe, in New Jersey. So when it comes to some of these weed plays, CGC is one that I'm watching pretty closely. This would be a better play for more like calls, if you're looking to play calls on this tomorrow. It's a even if others, I don't know about other states as well, but I know at least New Jersey, that vote is now through. So we have CGC. Tilray is one that I'm also watching that I like a lot too. And a lot of these, I'm not playing these for like the long haul, longer term. It's just a quick, move in the near term, probably just the rest of the week, as these types of, as weed plays get hot. So watch CGC, watch Tilray, and then watch ACB. If ACB starts making a big move, because they have a lot of range to the upside. So this can make a solid 30, 40, 50% move very, very easily, right? On top of that, I like IGC. It's a weed type of play. It's a play that likes to run off the weed. It was bouncing off here this $1, so I made some money off this $1 to this $160. So it can make a move back towards that $150. So it has a decent 20% probably. I think in store there if it does get some attention. That's another one. And if you want to look for other ones, SNDL is another one. More of a penny play, pure penny play, but This one making some moves as of late. It's not it's not your long-term play. It's definitely not your long-term hold, buy and hold. But look at the past couple of days. From 1381, it made a move to 23. So it's got some range and it has some potential for sure. That's at least what I'm thinking for what happens there. Let's go back to the futures and see what's going on. They're still holding up. Back to the betting odds, similar. Let's take a look. We're getting close to that next period of time where we start to see some more, hopefully some more clarity on some more, just to kind of fill this up and get this kind of situated here. So we're watching all these things. We're watching how stuff moves. TBLT, let's say, yep, TBLT looked good. Market looks green. I would expect TBLT to recover or make at least somewhat of a recovery. That's at least my thoughts if the market stays green. So we'll see what happens there. Let me switch. I'm switching shares here really quick. All right, so let's see. We really don't have too much more to talk about in terms of a lot of these states. North Carolina is now at 93% in, and it's like a 1-point lead for Trump. So we have that. Riot is a Bitcoin play, yes. The reason why I picked Mara, because if we look at Bitcoin, which is like just at 14, it's got to push above 14 and make a bigger move, but it's got this beautiful uptrend developing, so we can extend this out. It's looking really, really nice in terms of its uptrend. On the 4-hour chart, it's looking solid. I want to look at, let's see how Bitcoin's held up, but take a look at Mara, M-A-R-A, how it's done. It's actually come down pretty decently, and then it's starting to make a recovery. So this has some range to $3 pretty easily with another Bitcoin breakout. That's why I like it, because I think it has a larger percentage move in the cards, whereas Riot, if we look for a recovery, yeah, it could go from like 360-ish where it is after hours to 450 plus, but I think there's a higher potential move we are seeing with Mara. That's my personal play, so that's just how I'm doing it. Everyone's going to have their own kind of thoughts, I guess, on what they want to do when it comes to Riot, Mara, whatever you want to call, whatever your Bitcoin play of choice honestly is, because everyone's got their choice, right? All right, so let's see what we got going on here. Let me see what else. Okay, let's go back and take a look at some of these states. So now we're getting up to 40% in, so we're seeing some more voting coming in for some of these states: Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota. Minnesota looks like it's holding up blue for now. Of course, we'll have to see how that plays out. Wisconsin looking slightly red. Michigan looking decently red, but there's about a third of the votes only in. Texas was one that we watched. It looked blue early on and it turned over red, potentially because I don't know, maybe it's because they got more of the city vote in earlier, but Texas has predominantly been a red state in past years, but we're seeing a lot of people moving to Texas as well, so maybe that's potentially moving it towards a potential a future more of a battleground, more of a toss-up state as time moves on, as we get more people moving to Texas, and I'm one of those people. So there's that. I moved to Texas. Not necessarily saying that I'm not leaning a certain way. I'm just saying I moved. A lot of people are moving because they just either want to move to a state like Texas, lower taxes from California, or things like that. So that's one thing that could be bringing in people, I guess. So let's see, Georgia looking like it's holding up pretty decently in terms of its red for right now. Let's see what else. So my thing is if we see futures holding up, and they are pulling back a little bit here. They are pulling back just a little bit. We're also seeing the betting odds now start to shift a little bit. So Trump, at least in terms of betting odds, still favored, but these numbers are getting a little closer to even. So it's getting interesting for sure. Let's see how things progress here. But if futures can hold up, and if it's because we have a clear winner, and if it potentially is Trump, we may see an absolute rip tomorrow because there's no more uncertainty on that front. It kind of knows what's kind of going to happen. It kind of knows, hey, Trump's has been the last 4 years. Here's what to expect. So there's less uncertainty, I guess, and that's my take. If we see that, if we do see a Biden win, I don't think that we're going to go crashing on down. Of course, to be honest, I don't think that's going to happen. But we may see a temporary small pullback because there's just some uncertainty there as to what does this actually mean. And until people kind of realize it's not the end of the world, I think that's kind of what we're going to be seeing. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm kind of expecting for tomorrow at least. Let's see, what else? Curl F, because New Jersey legalized weed. Let's take a look at Curl F. Let's take a look at the chart. Boom, boom, boom. This is actually looking pretty solid. Chart looking like a nice uptrend chart, looking pretty nice. And this is a stock that could break out. Yep, so I see you there. I like that. Personally, based on the risk reward, the reason why I pulled up some of those like more like lower priced weed plays is just because the risk reward to me is just better there. But that's just me. You know, everyone's going to have their own plays. If you like, you know, these for a nice breakout past 10.25 or a breakout, a sustained move over $10, well then there you go. This could be a better play for you. I'm personally, I'm not very familiar here, so I wouldn't play it myself. But if you're someone who likes a sector, you like that sector, boom, this looks like a solid play as well. If we do break out and we start holding above $10, FSR is looking beautiful. I'll tell you that. Up another 3% today. Look at this recovery that we saw in FSR since this massive dip. Just an absolute V so far. Now we got to make a pretty big move back up because I know people have averages that are way up here, but that still said, I'm probably going to be buying FSR, whether it's green, red, orange, blue. I don't really care tomorrow. I'm going to be buying some, just because I think as long as the uncertainty is out of the way, if we have a winner, right? If the uncertainty is out the way, then this is looking like I'm going to be going in and loading up on my longer term positions. Let's see. I don't know. I mean, based off of what I'm seeing right now, right? I'm not going to say, I'm seeing that betting odds are having, showing Trump the favorite. We take a look back here. I mean, we still got a lot of votes to come in, so we still got a lot to be counted. But with that still said, it's looking like Trump is winning in a bunch of states that he was not projected to win. So does that continue across some more states over here? I don't know. How many states can he actually realistically take? He's not taking California. He's probably not taking Oregon and Washington. So, does that mean what does he take ultimately, right? What is he going to take in some of these states? Looks like he's not going to get Arizona as of now, although there's still 25% of the votes to be counted. So it's getting interesting, and his odds have since come down. So he was a clear favorite about an hour ago. These odds were like negative 700, which means you have to bet $700 to win $100. So that's not good odds if you're a betting person, right? That's not good odds. It's just like the risk reward, right? The risk reward. What's the risk reward? Why would I throw down 700 to win 100, right? So as of right now, it leans towards Trump, and this is very similar to what happened 4 years ago. So we'll have to see. So like I was saying, those were predicted to be blue, and they are looking like they're not. So that's just my take on that. Things are kind of potentially going against, this is the polls, right? And we know what happened in the polls last time. So that's just what we're seeing. So when it comes to the wheat stock, I mentioned before, but here I'll pull up kind of some of the ones I have on my list. There's my weed penny plays. I like IGC. We take a look at this chart. I like IGC with a decent range. I played it on this little move. It's got some range right there. I like Tilray for a nice move up, especially if it gets over $7. I like Tilray. I like ACB for a big time recovery. These are just the penny. They're not the best companies, but they're they're stocks in that sector there. SNDL has some range as well, some big time range. So that's my thought on some of those. But we'll see. We will see. This will be recorded and it'll stay up on the channel, but this is a live stream, so this is not pre-recorded. So we are seeing it live as it's going down. So it looks, to be honest, as if Trump wins, it seems like the market likes that. So I would anticipate a nice, a pretty green day if he can, officially win. Now, of course, how are we going to get an official yes, no, maybe? What are we going to get? That's the question, right? I don't know. NIO has been an absolute monster lately. Yes, you are absolutely correct. And it will probably continue. I don't see it stopping, especially if the markets stay green. I want a pullback or I want a consolidation to grab some for me. But at the end of the day, for me, NIO is a longer-term investment. So if you're looking at a longer-term investment, do you really care about the day-to-day fluctuations? Not really. Do you think NIO is going to be worth more than $35? Or is it going to be worth significantly more than $35 in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? I believe so, And so that's why I have no problem buying at these levels. And then what would I do? Well, I'll just buy more if it comes down. Like, that's my plan for NIO. I played some of these breakouts as well, just for some day trades, just for some fun. But ultimately, I want to build out a nice long-term position in NIO, NEO, as well as some other EV electric vehicle plays. So some of my EV plays that I like. FSR is one that's making some nice moves. I do like Hyliion, a pretty big short percentage of the float. I like Lordstown Motors. Let's see. We also have Workhorse in here. Workhorse is bouncing off the support very, very nicely. So I want to see earnings, and I want to see them get some of that contract before I would feel very confident in Workhorse, the USPS contract that I'm talking about. So for those who don't know, that at least decision for them to get a USPS contract, an electric vehicle contract with the United States Postal Service, has been somewhat delayed in a sense. So we'll see what happens with that. Tesla, if we go to the Tesla chart, it was holding up on these higher lows, and it honestly still is making higher lows. So personally, Tesla, I'm not too concerned about it holding up on certain higher lows, but if I can draw this trend line in here, we kind of have something like that to be now watching. So I like Tesla, but really Tesla, the biggest breakout for me is going to be over this 465-ish level. We get over that 465, and then Tesla starts making some moves. That's what I'm seeing. And I like it. I have some Tesla, but I mean, it could be a great play to buy like calls if we get over there. So we'll see. We will see. We will see. Let's take a look at DRAD. DRAD. What it's doing here is it is actually looking pretty good because we have what looks to be another, if we take a look at the pattern, right, we're seeing like these ups, these downs, and then this consolidation, reversal. So we're getting, looks like what we are seeing signs of an early stage consolidation and potential reversal to the upside. So this looks like it could be a decent play, but it's up after hours, right? So we had that massive move after hours, and we take a look at the 5-day, 5-minute. I'm personally not a big fan. And nothing against the play, but I mean, look at where it is, right? Can it go tomorrow if the market stays green and people are looking for something to play? Yes, it certainly can, right? But if we take a look based on the prior history of these spikes, right, we're coming up to, these types of spikes. So we're seeing it hitting some levels of resistance. Now, could it go higher? Yeah, it certainly can. But I don't know if this will be the play. So personally, for me, I'm not a big fan. I loved it, earlier this week in terms of the overall like risk reward on the chart. But now, I don't know. I'm just not sure if I would be playing and I wouldn't be holding this one. If you're holding overnight and you're already in from a lower average, sure. But if you're, if you're looking to get in now, I personally would be staying away. I'll talk about some of those Riot stocks. So some of the Riot stocks that I like is DGLY, not to be confused with Riot, like the actual stock Riot, which is like more of a Bitcoin stock. Here's what I'm looking at for DGLY. So I have a nice position around 275. Now I had an average in like the 230s that I sold some yesterday, and then I rebought some today on some dips. Looking to get some more. I'm not in huge, just because personally it's already up. It's a little overextended, although my thesis behind this is going to really come down to tonight, tomorrow, the next couple of days. Do we see more riots, and does this really catch on? If it does, well, this stock starts making a move over this, this 325 level, and it has some range up to $4 plus, which would be an awesome move. And we saw when the riots were really ramping up a few months back, this went to $7. So it has potential for sure. That's why I have a position in it, and I also have a position if we take a look. Let's find my other position. We take a look at VISL, more like a drone play, but also it has run during riots, and it has had some sympathy. So that's why I like that too. This hits over 155, and it has some room to 165, 175, potentially $2. And we'll see. We got to break over some of these tops. We break over some of these wicks. I know it's not easy to see, but if we zoom in, we break over something like, so this wick right here, 169. This wick right here, 185. We break over those levels, then we have some more room to the upside. But to be honest, if we get a move there, I'll be taking some profits. And this may go further. DGLY may go further. There's even CETX, I believe, too. That's another sympathy. It certainly can go further, and there's other Riot plays, too. There's not just these. But I'm in these, and I would like to be taking my profit, and I don't want to get screwed on a downside drop, especially with these stocks because they're pretty volatile. Though they can drop offerings, like they can come down just as hard, if not harder, than they move up. So that's my only issue. And also, they have been circulating on social media. So VISL, DJY, circulating on social media. So what does that mean? Well, what that means is that we have some bigger traders, people with bigger followings, bigger accounts on those stocks. So when you have that, you get some irrational buyers and sellers, and you get some irrational kind of buying and selling going on. And when that happens, it can kind of ruin the momentum at times. So we'll have to see. So I'm being careful. I'm not in huge, being kind of careful on that. I am pretty bullish though on Bitcoin going forward. So we'll have to see. One thing I actually want to do is, let's take a look here. Sundial yes, I do like Sundial. So SNDL for tomorrow with the weed legalization in New Jersey. Yep. It has a lot of range. It has to make a nice move get back over that 20 cent, and this could be a runner tomorrow. I want to see. So I'm watching, CGC. I'm watching, Tilray. I'm watching YCBD, even ACB, IGC in terms of that weed sector. I have a video over some weed stocks, weed penny stocks or stocks that generally like to run. When we have some attention going on, at least right from in the weed sector, right? So that's what I like to watch, and I'll be watching those tomorrow. Personally, for me, I grab some Mara after hours. So if I'm looking for a day trade tomorrow and things are still running up and we get some continuation in the weed sector, if I'm looking for a day trade, I'm probably looking in the weed sector. Probably that's, as of right now, that's what I'd be looking at, because I think that you can go fairly heavy early in the morning, and you should be able to ride up a decent run for the day, as long as there are more states. I believe more states had some votes, so it's not just New Jersey too, I believe. So I want to see how that goes. I'll look at that in the morning, see what passes, what didn't pass, but that's that. So we'll see. How long did it take you? To be honest, the last couple of months I've been very choppy. But the last year, or about the first, year from October-ish to October of this year, beginning of October, it was like 567% gain, which is cool. But I mean, I know I could have done better. But prior to that, I had a couple years of trial and error, losing a couple thousand options trading, and so I found small caps, penny stocks for me to be the best. I just like them for the risk reward and with certain catalysts in mind. Like for example, the weed sector, we have weed votes. There's your catalyst, right? For example, riots, right? We have riots going on. Let's find some police body camera plays like DGLY. Look for other stocks that run during riots, right? Drone plays, to kind of surveillance, I guess, right? That's kind of your connection. So stocks like that, getting in early and selling into the spikes, selling into the pops, or selling before the news. That's just kind of my strategy for a lot of these. In addition to also along, buy and hold. So my EV plays, my FSR, my NEO, right? My Hyliion, right? Those are the stocks that I'm, buying and holding long term. So that's just kind of my strategy on that front. But we'll see. One thing to know, I'm watching the odds here, guys. So let's take a look. So futures right now are, so we had tech, right? It was up 3% just about 10 minutes ago. Now it's a little bit higher. And then take a look here. So now we look back to the betting odds. So we have the betting odds minus 320. So for those who missed a little bit earlier, so what does this actually mean? That means you need to bet. If you bet $100, you're only going to win $31.25. You need to bet $320 to win $100. So what are these odds? Well, this is showing that Trump right now is the favorite in terms of the betting odds to win the election. Now, if you were to vote for Biden here, if you were to go Biden, let me get out of Trump. Biden plus 230. So that means if I bet $100, I'm going to win, right? So that's showing me, okay, that's less likely to happen. Therefore, I can bet less money and win more money, right? So that's what the betting odds are, and that's why I've been watching them, just to kind of clear the clutter. Now it's after 10 o'clock, so let's see if we have some more votes, and boom, here we go. So we got some more things filling in. So like we expected, it looks like, we just lost connection to the mouth. There we go. Washington, even though we don't have votes, I think it was pretty much, we pretty much knew that was going to happen. And the question is going to be Nevada, I think, next. So we have those. They're giving Biden what looks to be Washington, Oregon, California. So he's currently sitting at 209 electoral votes as of right now, but there's still a lot up for grabs. Still a lot of votes here. Still a good chunk of votes here, North Carolina, 95% in, and it looks like about a 1.3% or point lead for Trump with 95% of the votes in. So it's probably going to be too close to call for right now, but That is looking like it's more and more red as time goes on. Ohio is looking like a bigger lead now for Trump with 85% of the votes in, 53 to 45. That's actually a pretty significant lead. I thought that would be a little bit closer, to be honest. Pennsylvania, only 42% of the vote is in, but we're seeing a decent lead as well for Trump. That was originally looking like a lead for Biden early on. Michigan, as we see, Michigan's looking like a pretty substantial Trump lead as well. Wisconsin, a couple point Trump lead. That one's a little bit closer than Michigan as of right now. But again, these are still less than 50% of the vote counted. Okay, so understand that. Minnesota is looking like a lot bigger of a Biden win. Looks like a decent Biden win right there for right now. That may close the gap, but it looks like I think Biden probably will pull that one out unless I'm missing something there. Let's take a look. Iowa is looking decently like a Biden win, although we're only about halfway counted there, so just keep that in mind. Texas is now looking like a larger and larger Trump victory. It was originally closer, but that could have potentially been, was it just cities that were, being counted first? Who knows? I don't know how that was counted. Arizona is looking like a Biden win with 75% of the vote counted. Utah is looking like it's Trump with a decent lead there. Montana, not many votes in, so only 19% of the vote is in there, so it's a Biden lead for right now, although Montana is expected to be red, and it's only 3 electoral votes, so it's, to be honest, not a huge state there. We have Idaho has been given so far it's 92% to 6%, but that's only because less than a percent of the votes are being shown here. If we were to break out the calculators and stuff, which I'm not going to do, it looks as if things are leaning Trump's way. Let's take a look at the odds. So the odds again are shifting a little bit, but still Trump with the favorite for right now. As of right now, that's what we see right now. Things can certainly change. So that's what we're watching for right now. Let me see. Let me pull this up and let me pull this up for you guys so you can kind of at least see what we got going on. At least I'm in the corner, so you guys can kind of get a sense. There I am. So I am now up on the side of the screen. Now we can kind of get a sense to at least you can see me, whether you like it or not. So okay, let's see. Let's see what else. DGLY, yes, I like it. I like it for sure. That's a play that I'm liking that one. Let's see. Sundial, yep. NTech with weed, yep. NTech could be a good one too. Let's take a look at this one. Another pharma company. Just had a reverse split, I believe, right? So this one float is nice and tight. We got a nice tight float. This is bopping down here. It looks like based on the daily chart right now, it's looking like it's showing a 220 or so support. With a nice little gap, if we can get over this 332, this could be one on the list too as well. So that's certainly one. Now, if that's right, if Arizona as well has legalization. So now we got New Jersey, Arizona. I haven't been following, super close. I'm going to probably look at that, tomorrow morning or something. But there we go. So now we got more states, and so it looks like these wheat plays are certainly going to be potential runners tomorrow. So I will be definitely watching them for tomorrow and seeing if those are worth some plays, worth a trade in the morning. And there comes my perfect opportunity for my daily Webull plug. So you guys can get this desktop platform, which I'm using. This is Webull, right? And get 3 free stocks when you sign up and deposit $100. And the reason why I say that is because you can get trading access from 4 a.m. Eastern to 8 p.m. Eastern after hours. So your pre-market access starts very early, and when many brokers actually open up around 7 a.m. So the reason why tomorrow may be beneficial is to get in on some of those plays early on. Now, if they spike up on no volume or very low volume early on, be careful of it spiking ridiculous percentages. I would be looking to get in on dips at that point, but it's an opportunity to be able to get in early if you're willing to wake up early. Sometimes you just wake up at 4 a.m., set an alarm and get something, and just wake up, and go back to bed for 2 hours and 3 hours, and then wake up like, hey, I made money. If you don't have a broker that has access to pre-market hours, you will certainly miss out on some of the bigger moves, right? If you're just trading market hours. That's just my take. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens tomorrow. It's going to be crazy. Let's take a look at what's going on with. So here's the odds. So still sitting up minus 300 or so. They're still holding up. So they're holding up pretty much where they've been the last hour or so. It's that. So I don't know. We're going to see how this progresses over the next couple of hours here, but it's certainly looking Like, I don't know if we're going to have, it's still going to probably be some time before we actually have, an official, hey, here's who won, right? But for those who are watching closely, you're looking at Biden right now. There's still 217 votes up for grabs, right? So we certainly have, it's very, very, possible for both sides, right? And this 112 for Trump, although it says 112, so you're looking at the current numbers and like, okay, Biden's, got a solid lead. He's going to get there. I caution you there because if we take a look at this, right, this is only counting states that are solid colors. The states that are in the dash, those aren't counted yet. But we look, Florida, 29 electoral votes. Looks like it's going to be Trump. Georgia, as of right now, solid lead. Looks like it's going to be Trump. That's 16 more. North Carolina, that's 15 more. So I'll just know. So if we're looking at just to see if it can reasonably happen, like how possible is this for this to happen? So 112, we add 29 for Florida. Let's just assume he gets Florida. Let's assume we get Georgia. He gets Georgia as well, right? Assume that Trump also wins North Carolina, okay? That puts him at 172, okay? Assume Ohio. It looks like Ohio is going that way. That's 18, right? That puts him at 190, so he still has a lot to cover, right? Okay, assume he gets Texas. That's a pretty big one. That's 38, right? So now he's at 228. Now, does he get Michigan? As of right now, it looks like he's going to get Michigan, but we'll see how that goes. That's 16, right? If he gets Pennsylvania, that's a pretty big one, 20 votes. Let's just say he gets Pennsylvania, give him 20, right? Let's say he gets Michigan, give him 16. He's still at 264, so he's going to need something else, right? What is going to happen? Is it well, he should probably get Montana, right? We probably anticipate him getting Montana. That's only 3, though. So that's 3. That's 267, right? Now they're anticipating Alaska, and that would do it. Plus that 3 is the 27. So if he doesn't get anything else, he doesn't get Iowa, doesn't get Minnesota, doesn't get Utah, Nevada, Arizona, that would do it based on the calculations we just saw. So it's possible. It certainly is possible. And it seems like the betting odds are talking about that being more likely the case as of right now. Yes, I'm still in the VXX. The thing was, I scaled a decent amount of that off today because I felt, we seem to be, the market seemed to be moving up and it seems strong. And if we do get a move, if we get a bull move and based off of, what I was looking at, took my profits there, a good chunk. But I held some just in case we get some crazy action tomorrow. So that's why I have it. But it looks like I'm going to be getting out of this one tomorrow because now we have less uncertainty. Still plenty of things against the market. So there's still plenty of things to be, uncertain about. But that still said, I think the VXX volatility play, it worked. It really did. It was a nice hedge, from getting an entry down here around, 23. I actually had some buys under 23. Getting an entry down there to riding up to 27 while the market tanked. My positions, most of my swings went down. This went up. I could have lost a lot of money last week, but I minimized that loss. So it worked, right? It worked for me. And now, I'm going to be selling out of the rest of that. Looks like tomorrow, as long as the futures hold up. So where are we? As long as these hold up. Looks like, so look at VIX, right? The VIX is modeling volatility, right? So this is going to be down 3% tomorrow. You can anticipate VXX down a similar amount. It's probably done. It's probably done. So that's what we're looking at. That's what I'm thinking. DKNG, I think so. I think it's time. Let's see. Actually, I didn't look at this one today. So this is looking like it's breaking out of this downtrend, rough trend that we have here, but it's breaking out, perking up over this level. Found some support here at 35, and it's breaking out to the upside. So this is probably going to be one of those plays that could be an amazing bounce play or an amazing intraday options play tomorrow, or even just an options play for the next couple weeks. This could be, if we get a bigger recovery in the market, this one has some range and it has some room based off of how it was oversold. It's bouncing off these oversold levels on the RSI. It fell a lot pretty quick, from 64 to 35. That's a pretty big drop. Now, did the stock, it was the move right from 10 to 64 over the past few months warranted? Yes, I think yes and no, but it happened very fast, right? So you'll see a lot of times you get pullbacks like that. Now, this is I think it's a healthy pullback, although it's a pretty big one, and people who got caught buying up here and playing options up here, yeah, you got screwed, buying calls at least. But I think we're due for a reversal. At least $5-10 we can probably get in the near term, as long as the markets stay green. That's my thoughts on DKNG. At least that's my thoughts there. Yep, futures 3.5%. I mean, yep, they're looking good. Futures are looking pretty green, especially tech. Tech is looking very green as of right now. So let's see, which one would you prefer the most? To be honest, based on the levels right now, I would buy some DKNG. I would then buy LCA. Those are my two. GAN, let me take a look at the GAN chart on that. This doesn't look bad either. But I would probably would be DKNG. I just don't know as much about this one. So that's my only thing. Now, it certainly could be an amazing play. I just don't know as much about. So I have more kind of, I guess if you want to say, I've looked further into LCA, DKNG, and stuff like that. So the reason why I like LCA, it's bouncing off the support. Beautiful level, I think, right here, especially with the awesome revenue and things we've been seeing out of them. So they've been looking really good lately as well. So I like this one a lot for a reversal. I'm also liking it long term. So I will be buying personally tomorrow some stocks I'm looking to buy myself. I'm looking to buy some LCA. DKNG is also on that list. I would like to buy some as well. And I'm just stashing these away in a long-term portfolio. So yeah, you can play them intraday options, and they might move 5-10% for some of these. That makes some massive moves. And playing them intraday for options is awesome. Playing some calls. But I like these just long-term, buying them, forgetting about them, and then looking back on like a year or 2 years, and like, oh man, I'm up 300%. Like, that's awesome, Like, that's the idea, Don't do the research now, buy it and hold and forget about it and reap the rewards later on, right? Of course, following along, that's the other thing too. Just because some of these are SPAC, like some of these SPAC plays, even FSR that I like for the EV sector, because these SPAC plays, they're somewhat speculative. Like, we still have, there's got a lot of things have to kind of go their way. They still got to, go through, we got to get production going, right? We don't have production on FSR, right? So, like, okay, we got all that stuff to kind of watch. Of course, you want to watch it and make sure the company's, is progressing on a pace that they're kind of expecting, or within those guidelines or within expectations, right? Obviously, but ultimately, those are some buy and holds I think that are solid. That's my thoughts. So let's go back to some of this stuff. So holding up here on futures, looks like S&P is not as strong as like tech, NASDAQ, but that is that. So let's see, do we have any more? Did they give Trump something else? They gave Utah to Trump. I think that was expected. Reason why I go back here, that was expected. That's only 6. That's nothing crazy. What else? So we're still waiting. We're getting a decent amount of votes in Wisconsin. So Wisconsin with half the votes in. Couple point lead for Trump as of right now. Minnesota with more than half the votes in. It looks like that's going to probably go blue. Michigan, pretty substantial Trump lead for right now. We'll see how that goes, but it's less than half the votes in. Iowa is getting closer. If I recall, we just looked at this one. It's getting closer. So that's going to be interesting to see. It was expected to go red, so that's going to be interesting. And of course, if it doesn't, then that's a 6 vote swing, that Trump would have to probably make up somewhere else, because ultimately the crazy thing here is that for Trump to win, he's not going to blow this 270 out of the water. He's not going to be blowing this away, but he may literally just get enough, and it's going to be very close. So the expectations, right, for Biden. Look at this. These are some of the expectations for a 351 for Biden. Now I don't want to. And this is why I never trusted the polls. Like, personally, based off of what happened last time, for me, I know, hey, but I just couldn't get myself to trust that. I wanted to see it happen live, and we're seeing it happen live, and it's almost a repeat of exactly what happened 4 years ago. So I am personally, as much as the polls and everything, personally myself, I'm not surprised. I'm not as surprised as you may think some people are. Kind of anticipating the polls to be incorrect or to be inaccurate here. And with what we saw last time, I'm not as surprised, right? So they gave New Hampshire to Biden. That was a potential toss-up, I believe, potentially. Looks like Maine is probably going to go blue. We'll see. There's only 32% of the votes in there. Only 4 electoral votes, so it doesn't really matter, to be honest, too much. North Carolina mostly in, just under a 2-point lead there. Georgia mostly in a solid lead. Looks like Trump probably will win that. Florida was a pretty substantial win, it looks like. bigger than last year, and that was always going to be the toss-up close play that we were watching from. We saw. I think Trump won Florida not last year, 4 years ago, right? 2016. He won Florida by like 100,000 or so votes. Currently, he's up by about 400,000 or so. So he's got a bigger lead, and I believe, if I was looking, he did a lot better in Miami than expected. So that really is, I think, what carried him. So that's that. What else do we have going on? So other than that, what we see on the right-hand side, this is just the New York Times for those people who are just turning in and just wondering what we're looking at here. So on the right-hand side, we have just some updates to who's winning some Senate seats. And it's going to give updates as to Trump winning certain states or Biden winning certain states as they come in. So it gives Biden winning New Hampshire. We just had an update for Trump winning Utah. So we're getting some of those that stuff. Let's take a look. Texas here is holding up a pretty big lead. The reason why I keep looking at some of these states is because 38 big. If Biden was to win Texas, right, which would have been a big surprise, I think, because basically Texas has been red for a while, right, for many years, or at least it's traditionally a red state. That would have been massive, and 38 votes swing like that. It's it. That's it. So, yep. So that's that. Other than that, let's see. FSR. I'll pull up FSR really quick and show you guys my thoughts, or give you my thoughts on some FSR action. Let's see. So look at this. So look at this V. I mean, I think we're probably going to have some resistance here. Now we're getting up into this range. So we're going to have some resistance, but it might take some time to clear out of these levels. This triangle, this uptrend and downtrend I have is just from, prior when we were inside that triangle, we fell out of it. So to be honest, not ideal, but we're making a nice recovery. These buys under 9 were beautiful buys for those who did buy it. I wish I did. I have a nice core position, and I've sold some calls out of the money ahead of it for November. So that's how I'm going to be doing it. That's how I'm going to be playing FSR. GME. Let's take a look at GME. And don't get me started on the vote thing, because I don't want to kind of talk too much about it. But I had some issues. I'll tell you that. It was more difficult for me to vote than it should have been. That's all I'm going to say. Based off of moving and absentee ballots and not getting the absentee ballot. And so, yeah, I'm not very happy about that, let me tell you. But that's besides the point. I encouraged, or I hope everyone, got a chance to vote if you're, able to. So here we go. So it looks like we kind of fell to this level right here, these highs, or these kind of tops, this, $10, $50, $11. So we held up in here, and it's making a nice reversal. So I like it, especially if the market's green tomorrow, up 7% today. I think we can see that momentum continue. I exactly for NIL. I think I keep saying I want to, but here's my strategy, right, for NIL. I've been waiting till post-election to buy. I'm gonna buy NIL post-election. So I'm gonna probably buy them tomorrow. But that being said, I do think we're getting overextended. I think we're getting overextended, and so I want to kind of watch how that develops. Do we stay very overextended? And I'm not going to just go all in, right? I'll take a nice little chunk of NIL, and then I'll be looking to dollar cost average into that and add to NIL as time goes on, as I have more funds available over time, right? But if it dips, even better. So that's kind of my take. Dip, whatever, this, that, the other thing, that's my take on NIL. One thing to note, guys, is that, look at this. Taking a look at the betting odds, now we are seeing a decent shift here back to Biden. So, okay, still the favorite right now. As of the betting odds, Trump still the favorite, okay? But it's looking like now Biden is starting to come on, at least in terms of the betting odds. So what does that mean? Are we seeing some other stuff? Let's take a look if there's any news. Biden won New Hampshire. I mean, to be honest, though, these aren't huge wins because they're small in terms of the electoral votes. So it's not huge wins. Like in New Hampshire, Vermont, maybe they were thinking that Trump was going to grab it, but 4 votes, not huge. The key is going to be these bigger states: the Wisconsins, the Michigans, the Iowas, the Ohio's, the Pennsylvanias. It looks like he's got North Carolina. It looks like, but they're probably too early to call. We're going to have to see. So we got some other ones to count to as well. So that's the key. If North Carolina goes blue, or 18 votes goes blue, that makes it significantly harder for Trump to win. Significantly harder. And I don't think he does. he would need some kind of miracle on some other states. So that's what's happening. That's why we're seeing that the odds shifting a little bit. Now they're back to 200 to 1. Okay, so Trump is still a decent favorite right now. Again, for those who miss what this means just means I have to bet $200 on Trump to win $100. Okay, so the risk reward is kind of worse on the Trump bet than if I was to bet Biden. I bet $100, I win 150. So that's what those odds mean. So for those who are just tuning in, let's see. Let's take a look at Very. I'll look at Very. Up 3%. Up. So okay. So I think this one, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know too much about it, but it seems like it's trying to make a reversal off of some of these lows. So there's that. We'll see. Looks like it needs to get up above this $11, $12 area, and then it has some more room to the upside. Pretty low volume, though, based on the chart. Pretty choppy chart. Not much fluid kind of movements, it seems like at times. So don't like that too much, to be honest. But let's see. So now with that, so with the odds kind of shifted, the odds are bopping around. They're shifting around. So it's very interesting. So now we're seeing, okay, futures are coming back a little bit. They're pulling back just a little bit based off of where they were, because they recently were, at least tech was up like 3.5%. Now it's coming back. Now, okay, it's still up. It's still green. But, just wanted to point that one out. Let's take a look. I'm looking at some other stuff, just seeing if I can find some other news, anything other, interesting news on Twitter. Let's see. And I'll let you guys know, of course, if I see something. So we'll see. Let's see. From what I'm seeing, there it is. Arizona has legalized marijuana. So for those people in Arizona, New Jersey, Arizona, you have now, legalized marijuana. So there you go. That's that. People saying I wouldn't be either. Let me tell you, I would not be surprised either. Yep. So okay. Let's take a look. Very good food. I've heard things good, bad. I personally, for me, I haven't looked enough into it to make my decision. So that's my thoughts on Very for right now. Weed. Let's take a look. So for the weed plays I'm looking at CGC. Actually, I should probably add CGC to my watch list. Let me add that really quick to the watch list. Edit watch list, weed. Let's go to edit. We don't want that. We want to add CGC, Canopy Growth, to the watch list. Okay, so I would be looking at CGC first as kind of a leader of the pack. Does it move up? I think it certainly can. These are some stocks we were watching. Congrats to the people in Arizona and New Jersey. So this was one that we're like, oh, well, if Biden wins, right, better. But doesn't matter if Biden wins just because a Democrat wins, right, and you would think that is good for weed stocks, doesn't necessarily, I don't know, because if we get these states that are legalizing it, we're getting some more states legalizing it, that's going to spark some attention, spark some interest. So I think these are going to be some stocks that go, for sure. Tilray has a lot of upside potential. YCBD is one that I'm watching for a move over this 50 SMA, this blue line right here. That's YCBD. ACB is one that I think has a lot of potential to the upside. ICG is one that I want to see it make a nice move. I may play ICG because I've done well on it in the past, and I like this kind of chart that we're seeing. SNDL is another one too that has a lot of range. If it gets going to the upside, it can make a significant move. That's what we're seeing. So I'll take a look at Amazon, and then I'll look at MVIS. AMZN. I like Amazon more of like a long-term play, but if you're looking for calls and the market's up big tomorrow, well, this is an option for you. I like to see Amazon make a move, and it's going to probably have to see this level right here that we couldn't drop too much below, this 31.2 area, this 31.25, like this, 31.25 or so. We break above that, that could be a little bit of a breakout intraday for a nice little move up for if you're playing calls or scalping calls, but overall, longer term, it's looking like it's making that reversal, and it may be testing all-time highs if the markets continue to make a further move to the upside. That's what we're kind of looking at. So that's my take, at least on Amazon right there. Let's take a look at MVIS. MVIS is up 14% today. It's kind of in this gap. So MVIS, I would be targeting this level right here. This first off $2, and then if we break over 2, I'd be targeting this 215. So fill that gap. That looks decent after falling out of this trend. So I don't think that's a terrible play. Let me look at the 1 hour chart to get a better view on thoughts. Yeah, it's gotta make a decent move, a decent recovery. So that's at least what I'm thinking for MVIS. Let's see. VVPR to the moon if Biden wins. Yeah, I think that's certainly a nice play as well. But again, this is getting interesting because we keep seeing the betting odds, and this is popping up and down, and look at this now. Biden's coming back at least a little bit in terms of the odds, so we may be seeing something happening. Let's take a look. Do we see any new news? Any new numbers coming in? Texas at 86%. Iowa. I think Trump just took the lead there if he hadn't already had it, but it's close. It's very close. And what is Iowa? Iowa's 6. Okay, Iowa, the electoral votes. Minnesota's mostly in. Looks like that one's probably going to go to Biden. Let's see. We got 10 votes on the line here in Wisconsin. Trump probably needs those if he wants a shot here to win. Michigan as well, 16. Looks like as of right now, with about half the votes in for both states, Trump's got a decent lead in both. A bigger lead in Michigan, which has more votes, so I guess that weighs a little bit more. But that's that. Biden's winning Arizona as of right now, yep, and it looks like he probably will. That was one of those toss-ups people were looking at, so we'll see. We just did the calculation a little bit ago, and we did the path to Trump getting there, and it's possible, although it's so much more likely. I mean, just based off of like what we were expecting, right? He's gonna probably, if he does it, it's gonna be very close. This is not. Can we see? People were talking about ties. Oh man, it's gonna be close. As of right now, it looks like we probably won't have much. We may not have clarity. I don't know. It's gonna be. It's just crazy. I don't know. All the EV up. Biden wins. I think either way, market is going to go up. I think EVs are going as well, for sure. But it's coming back. Futures coming back a little bit, and they're correlating decently with the odds. Now the odds are shifting. Biden is getting the odds are kind of moving towards Biden, at least in terms of the betting odds. So there's that. So things are getting closer. At one point, a massive, significant. Biden was a significant favorite, and then Trump pushed to a significant favorite about 2 hours ago, and now it's coming back towards even, so it's like a toss-up at this point, literally, in terms of the odds. Still Trump a slight favorite as of right now, so it's getting interesting. Top stock after the election, I don't know, depends. If Trump wins, we're going to see riot stocks moving up. If Trump also wins, I want to see, did the futures hold up, and that's going to be, interesting. We'll be making some moves, for sure. I think you'll see maybe less continuation for some weed stocks, and ultimately it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. I'm just watching what's going on. That's literally it. So let's take a look. The stocks that I'm in, I'll show you guys at least what I'm in really quick. Bought some Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. How's Bitcoin doing? So Bitcoin is still up and looking strong. I'm looking for a further move, breakout upside move for Bitcoin. That's what I want to see. I see that. Then my Mara is going to be nice. I'm going to probably add to that one if I can. I like Riot and Mara first for Bitcoin plays. Pretty much, they've pulled back a decent amount, even though Bitcoin stayed pretty strong. So I think a little bit more of a breakout, more attention on Bitcoin, and those certainly will get some traction. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. So I don't know. Let's take a look. What do we got going on here? Futures. Okay, we'll take a look at the New York Times. We'll give it a refresh just to make sure we're all good here. And it seems as if, okay, so we have 88% in Ohio, and I think that's a pretty big lead. So looks like Trump's probably going to win that. If you have to, I don't know. It looks like that's going to happen, right? Pennsylvania, about half the substantial lead there as well for Trump. North Carolina mostly in. It's probably too close just to give it to Trump there. I guess they got to count some more stuff, but again, that's looks like a Trump win. Georgia, pretty substantial lead, so it looks like a Trump win there as well, although there's a lot of votes still to be counted. Florida's up there with a couple point lead for Trump, so it looks like he's going to win that one as well, although I guess still, enough votes to count here still. It looks like he's going to probably win. And of course, for him to win, he needs this. He can't afford to lose, one of these. Georgia, Texas, Florida, North Carolina. He can't really afford to lose that. Honestly, Ohio and PA, he needs to win that as well if he wants to win. So things are rolling, I guess, right, it looks like, for Trump. So back to the betting odds. And it's close. It's still close. It's still close. Let's see. Yep. Recreational marijuana is now legal in Arizona. So there you go. Let's look at LCA, because I like LCA. I'm looking to buy some LCA tomorrow, actually. And it's what it's doing here is it's bouncing right off of this support level. So we have this 1150 support that it had in the past, and it's bouncing right off that level, and it's recovering up here now. So I can see it consolidating. If we have a rip in the market, I can see it pushing up. It's probably going to, my hope is that it consolidates. I'll be able to buy some, and then I'll be hoping for the bigger move to the upside. I like LCA a lot, actually. Some great news of their revenue recently, some great news for them, some awards they just got. So I like that stuff that we got going with LCA. So I'm a fan. I'm going to be buying some more long-term. ERBB, let's take a look at the ERBB chart. This is like a OTC stock or something. I mean, maybe. I mean, I personally don't play them, but if you know them, then more power to you. I'll take a look here. ERBB is an OTC. Yes, it is. American Green, based out of Phoenix. Okay, so it's in Arizona, which is pretty cool. So actually, this is not. Oh, this could be a beast tomorrow for sure. Yeah. Yep, I think this is actually a solid play. I mean, just because now I don't even need to look deep into this company, but you're going to have that hype tomorrow at least. With this getting legalized, you're going to have that hype. This could be a monster for sure, especially because it's OTC and the pricing of it, right? So, I mean, this thing doesn't have to move. I mean, it can move pretty easily, 100%, 200%, like 1,000%, very, very easily, especially if people start finding it. So this could be one of those, I think, that gets found tomorrow and really runs in the OTC market. So if you're looking for an OTC play, this could be one. So I appreciate that. All right, let's see. Trump leads in Peach County, Georgia, considered bellwether, Middle Georgia County. Okay. So there's that. So betting odds staying the same from what I'm looking at now. Let's go back to that. Betting odds staying the same. Okay, they're going to 170, so slight favor of Trump still, but I think we've hit a point right now where a lot of the votes are in, but there's still, enough mail-ins, enough stuff to still be counted that, like, as of right now, like, we don't have enough to just say definitively yes or no, right? It looks like, Trump's going to snag a lot of these states, like a lot of these kind of states that were potential toss-ups. It looks like he's going to snag them, but it's still too close to say, hey, he won these states, right? It's still close. And so, and that's why we're seeing some uncertainty here still with the odds. And we're still in a little bit of uncertainty now with the markets too, as it looked like we had a just a few hours ago, the betting odds were heavily in his favor, and things are shifting back a little bit right now. They're shifting back. And so combination of the market liking Trump, knowing kind of what to expect with Trump, but also having that clear definitive winner outcome, right? Without that we wouldn't, if we don't have a definitive winner, right, the market's still uncertain. And so what happens? I don't So futures are up, but they're coming back. It looks like S&P is probably going to come back and looking like ES /ES. For those who watch /ES, it's been coming down the past couple of, past like half hour or so. Still up, but coming down. So just, one thing to note. VVPR up a lot today. So personally for me, but look at this, it's bouncing beautifully off this support. So this has a lot of potential for sure, but it's bouncing beautifully off that support. So I do kind of like that if we have a nice green day. So definitely something to watch. Definitely one on the list, I would say. We'll see. Let's see. What else do we have? Going back, let's stay on the same in terms of betting odds. Let's see. Not much change, we're getting more percentage votes in here in Georgia, so it's looking more and more like Georgia's going to go Trump. Texas looks like it's probably going to go. It does look like it's probably, Arizona's probably, situated as Biden. Iowa, close, so close. Minnesota looks like it's going to be Biden. Wisconsin, Trump leaning right now. Still got a decent amount of votes to count. Michigan, leaning Trump, but still half a vote still in. Pennsylvania, exactly half, but a solid lead for Trump. And Maine still not counting as much as we just kind of checked in before. So we know we kind of have these same things, the same knowns, right? We have the same things known. Montana, very close, but I guess only 20% of the votes are in. So there's that. So we're seeing. So what else do we want to see? Leave any questions. Make sure to run the likes up on the stream. Appreciate you guys for doing so. Second stream of the day. For those who caught the earlier one, it was fun, but we kind of got into some weird questions about getting paid to promote stocks on YouTube. But it was fun. But there was not much activity. Like we didn't have any states closing voting, so we just didn't get these results. Now we have some results to talk about, and we have a market reaction. So we got more to talk about. Pulling back a little bit, but still green. So VIX is actually interesting. VIX is almost even now, which is interesting. Just something to watch, just because it's a volatility index, so we can kind of see. VIX is actually about to go potentially green here. So it's one thing to watch. It's now green on VIX. Okay. Is that because we're seeing it? Okay, because, yep, there it is. We are seeing it getting extremely close. Now, it's literally almost a toss-up now in terms of the betting odds. That's why. So things are getting close. Not surprised. So we're back to okay, Trump was a favorite betting odd-wise, and now it's okay, toss it up. Who's going to win? This could be, an absolute finish to the next, couple hours, honestly. So let's take a look at Grill. Grill, it was honestly a better buy down around 150, 160, but it's got some history of some spikes. I see it. I do like it. I would want to be getting it on dips as best as possible, just for a better risk reward, in my opinion. On Grill, that's just my thoughts. MLND. Let's take a look at MLND. This one came it came down to this buy range that we had of these supports, so it's actually holding up and looking like it's reversing, so it's actually a decent play. So, now you can catch on the reversal for a move back up towards, it looks like potentially towards $2, which is a nice, solid percentage move. Take that percentage move and run with it, right? Especially if there's any catalysts going on here, which I don't know about. If there are, then, you have an opportunity there to grab that, catch some of the lists, and there you go. So MLND, there you go. I like it. I do kind of like that reversal. We talked about it, I believe, not too long ago, but it's making a nice move up. So there's that. Let's see. What else? What are futures doing? Okay, now we're seeing tech coming back pretty hard, pulling back pretty hard. VIX is pushing up, so volatility on the rise. Tech stocks in general coming back down from their spikes from just about 2 hours ago when they really started making that big time push to the upside. So this is what we're seeing, and it's interesting to see. What we had last, I believe, 2016 was, I believe, came 9:30 Eastern came around, and we really started to see, now it's transitioning from Hillary to now favoring Trump, and then that was kind of it. So right now we're seeing it was Biden favored. Now then it went Trump, and now it's boom, boom, boom. So we'll see. Yeah, you can head out. No big deal. You no need to stay on the stream if you don't want to. Family time is good time. So don't worry. We're just hanging out. Nothing. We're just kind of watching what's been going on. That's all we're really doing. Let's see. I don't know. People were talking about how it would be it would be funny. Is it funny to hold results till a certain time and then release it state by state? That would just be absolutely insane for people to have to go through that. And some people would know, other people wouldn't know. It's oh my. So it looks like we have some Nevada votes in. We can do this calculation again if you guys want to. We want to do this. Let's do this calculation again and just see. It's looking I don't know. Let's take a look. I'll break out the calculator and I'll look as to. Let's take a look at what Biden now needs to do. So he's at 209. So I'll put 209 on the calculator. So we're at 209 here. What states is he winning right now that he's going to grab? So it looks like he's winning Arizona, right? So that should be 11. So we can add 11 there. He's got to get 270. He's going to now put him at 220, okay? Minnesota, he's up, right? So it looks like he'll grab that, give him 10. So he's at 230, right? Let's look at other states. Are we looking at? It's too close there. It looks like Trump is going to snag. Like, as of right now, Trump's leading in some of these states. I'm not going to give it to Biden just yet because Trump's leading, but there's still a lot of votes to be counted. So you can't, say it's definitive. Let's give him Maine, right? Give him Maine. That's 4, okay, as of now. These are going to go red, I think. It looks like Alaska is projected to be, I believe, if we go back to the polls. Now the polls, yes, the polls are wrong on a bunch of these states. Alaska's projected to be Trump. Let's give Biden Hawaii. Let's give him Hawaii. So what does that do? That gives him 4 more. Okay, so Hawaii, we give him 4. Let's give him, as of right now, he's winning Montana. I don't know if that'll hold up. I don't think it will, but okay. Let's give him Nevada. Let's just give him Nevada. Give him 6 for Nevada, right? And then give him even 3 for Montana because he's currently leading right there. That's 247. So he needs, right? So for Biden to win, he needs some of these states to flip. He needs some of these states to flip back. They're currently red. They're currently leading, right? Red. So Trump, as of right now, so I see why the odds are favoring Trump. I see why. I can see why. It makes sense, right? So I understand how that's being factored in. That's being calculated. So we're seeing it. So it looks as if Biden's going to need. He's going to need. I mean, if he won something like Texas or Florida, like there you go, that'll probably do it. But it just of course 2020, right? It has to be close, right? Of course we're gonna wake up tomorrow morning not knowing. Right? I can just see it now. I'm telling you, with all these votes still coming in, it's gonna be for those it's gonna be a late night. Full-time hitter, no, it's still a side thing. I do it. I do it a lot though now, especially with quarantine and stuff. So I focus on it a lot, but it's still just a side thing. It'd be cool to do it full time eventually. Past year, for those who are curious of just at least, I traditionally trade small caps. I traditionally trade like penny stocks. So I really got going on it. So the past a couple years ago, I had some ups and downs, options trading, this, that, and the other thing. Lost a couple thousand here and there. Past year, like October to like this October, I had like 567% gains, which is awesome. But again, people do much better than that. It was also like swing trading, strictly swing trading. Past couple months have been super choppy and rocky ever since like the end of August. So I'm like, honestly, like it's been a rough patch. So that's why I would never be fully reliant on that. Now it's not something that So one day we'll see. Hopefully soon. But I do enjoy it a lot. So we'll see how things go. And I've been getting better at some strategies and honing in some strategies and stuff like that. I can vote. And I'm going to give you a quick rundown on what happened. So I had some issues with a absentee ballot. So currently, right, so I'm technically a Georgia resident. Currently in Texas right now. So I'm technically a Georgia resident in Texas. And I requested the ballot and it didn't come. Going back and forth, and it was a whole deal. And of course, to be honest, it was harder than it should have been. Something else with the forwarding address that may have screwed it up. So we had a whole thing. I don't even want to get started on that stuff. But I hope for all of you guys who got the chance to vote, hope you guys did. That's that. So with that said, I don't know if you guys want me to stay on or we can wrap things up for now. I mean, there's not much going on. I mean, we're just kind of waiting. We're literally just waiting on stuff to happen. I mean, Trump is still a favorite here. Biden, still the underdog, at least slightly based on the betting odds. Going back, calculated it up, he needs to flip some of these states if he wants to win, Biden at least. Trump with leads in these states, it looks like if that holds, then he's probably going to win. That's just, that's what we're thinking about here. So, okay, with that said, I'm probably going to wrap things up. Just graduated, actually. Graduated Penn State. Where's my sweatshirt? So, okay. Guys, make sure to, on the way out, hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate you guys for coming in. We'll see when we get some more stuff going on. Workhorse, I like it's kind of recovering. I have not heard about that. I haven't looked into it. Workhorse, I want to see that bouncing up, recovering. Really quick, my of course daily Webull plug. This is so I use the platform that I'm showing you guys is the Webull desktop platform. It's free to use. You sign up, deposit $100. The link in the description. You get 3 free stocks. So there's my Webull plug of the day. Yeah, and so if those votes take longer to tally, then yeah, that's the thing. So if it's too close in some states, it's going to take longer to tally. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Appreciate you guys for coming in. I'll have a video out tomorrow talking about what's going on. If we get some clarity on the results and we get some clarity on a sector that starts moving in the overall market and kind of the direction, I'll have a video kind of discussing all that stuff for sure. So make sure you subscribe. Thumbs up on the way out. Subscribe to the channel again, like I just said. Appreciate you guys for coming in. It's fun just to hang out while we kind of are waiting on some results. Still stuff's up in the air. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully we have a winner. Hopefully we don't have crazy riots and stuff like that. Hopefully. But with that being said, guys, appreciate you guys, and I will see you in a future video. All right? Have a good one. Good luck tomorrow. Peace.